Our Father, we are again at your feet, and we are assembled to learn of you and about you. We're asking for your forgiveness for anything that we have done that would separate us from you. Those things that we know we have done, we apologize for. And the things we aren't even sure of, or we don't know we have done, we're asking you to see it and handle us favorably and to forgive us. We ask for the Holy Spirit to be with us as we go through Bible study today. And we look forward to what He will teach us. These mercies we ask in the name of your Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Okay, so we are at Malachi chapter 4.
Yeah.
And yesterday we did 1 and a piece of 2. So I'm gonna read 2 and 3.
Okay.
But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth, and grow up as calves of the stall. And ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the sole of your feet, and the day that I shall do this, said the Lord of hosts. So yesterday we said that this referred to Revelation when Jesus is going to set foot on earth. And this is why he is described as the Son of Righteousness, with healing in his wings. And so the people who have been faithful to God and that feared him will grow up as calves of the stall.
Hebrews says, you shall go out and grow fat like calves that are stall fed.
Hebrew said that?
Mm-hmm.
Which part of Hebrew?
The Hebrew version, Janet.
Oh, come here one life of Hebrew at Tabo.
I would have said Hebrews.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The Hebrew version says, will grow fat like stall-fed calves.
Okay. Those really get fat.
Stall-fed calves have a meaning there.
Mm-hmm.
What is a stall-fed calf as against a field-fed calf?
It is, how you say that, animal that is, how you call it already?
It's how they're taken care of, the attention that's given, and the kind of food that they eat.
Yeah.
It's like domesticated.
Well, yeah, but not only that, they are favored.
Yep, yeah. They're favored. And they tend to get fatter.
Yeah. And also, they are the prized ones. You don't.
Yep.
The ones that are the stall-fed ones are the ones you have selected from the herd.
Yes.
And put aside. These are the ones who get the vets, who get the special vet checkup, and these are what you call. These are the prize cows.
Yeah.
These are the ones you would take to the harvest to win the red ribbon, the blue ribbon. These are the blue ribbon calves.
Yes, but there's a reason for that. They are symbolic of your produce.
Mm-hmm.
These calves would have come from the herd.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about the calf except that this particular combination of genes produced an exceptional animal.
Right.
All right. But they are come from the general herd, which means that others can be produced from the general herd with the same characteristics or exceed it.
Yeah.
So the calves that come are from the general herd. They're not. They weren't bought outside, and
they're not made in the test tube.
Right. So these calves are prized because of their exceptional nature.
Mm-hmm.
But it tells something about the husbandman as well. He is dedicated himself to the upkeep and the upbringing of these calves, that nothing will hurt them. They will not be blemished. They will not have any sickness. Anything happens to them, he is immediately available for their assistance. This is what he's saying.
He watches over them.
Constant care. Dedicated to them. Right? Just point out how much God is putting in to this little thing that we skip over and say it's just growing fat as stall fed. There's much more to it than just that.
Okay. And then, and ye shall tread down the wicked. We talked about that yesterday. The process of threshing.
No, this is different.
This is
okay. And ye shall tread down the wicked. What the Hebrew says there?
And you shall trample the wicked, for they shall be ashes under your soles, your feet, on the day that I do this, says Yahweh of hosts.
So he's talking about what his selected people will be doing to those who are not selected.
No, we get it wrong.
We know that verse 1, he talks about that comet shall burn them up. Okay, so there is fire. And we know fire consumes everything. Okay, no, if something in a fire, it is going to turn into ashes.
Yes.
Right.
And then, and verse 2 says he's going to be like the son of righteousness. The sun burns as well. So here, for they shall be ashes under the soles, because some people are going to be turned into ashes under the soles, that you're going to have to walk on, basically burn people.
A lot of people read this and will get the impression that it is the Jews who will be doing the burning or causing these people to be harmed. That's not what this is saying. This is saying, I will burn them, and then you will trample over the ash of the one that
because
burned.
It's connected to verse 1, right? Because verse 1, he's the fire that's consuming.
Yes. So Jesus in Revelation, I think it's in Isaiah, when it says, who is this that comes with the blood, so much blood on him? And he says, I have trampled my enemies. I have trampled the winepress by myself. And in Revelation, when Christ comes, they will say there was so much blood that it reached up to the knee or the bridle of the horse, right? That Christ was riding. He alone will do the war. He alone will trample the enemy. He alone will conquer. There will be no assistance required or needed, because the Revelation said he slew them with the sword of his mouth. Just him. So here we see it again presented, that you will not have to do anything. When you march into the kingdom, when you come in, all of those people who have opposed you will be laid waste. They will be dead. There will be no more. And you will come over into the land.
Walking on their
ashes.
Yeah, because I want to connect this to verse 17. You remember in verse 17 when he says, I will spare them, they shall be...
Yes, spare them from my wrath.
From what is going to happen in verse 4, verse 1.
Exactly. So we were careful to make sure we understood what sparing means. That it wasn't just to, take them away. It was to say there was wrath to come, and I will not cause you to be harmed. I will set you aside. I will sequester you while I deal with the rest. So having sequestered and having dealt with the others, then he says, you come. And he's leading his children through where the fire had been. It's ash at this point. So there is no more danger, no more fire, no more opposition. You come through peacefully. But there's a symbolism for ash as well. Ash, back in the days, was a symbol of remorse.
Yeah, because I remember they sat in hot sackcloth and ash.
Yeah. It was a symbol of remorse and repentance. So the ash of the people, God did not enjoy doing this. It was not his first wish.
It wasn't what he wanted to do.
But he had to do it, but it was not what he had wanted. So the people that are coming over aren't coming over joyfully. They're mourning.
But to me, this will happen in Israel because he's coming, he's touching foot right in Jerusalem in the temple now. So whoever is there, we know that the abomination of desolation will be there.
Yeah, and he's saying, Israel will be my fatted calf. These are my jewels.
Israel is going to be his fatted calf.
Yeah, this is all to Israel.
Then if he's doing that, I'm wondering if this connects with it then, because I've been looking at it and thinking. I'm reading it and you tell me if it matches. Micah 4 verse 13. Rise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will give you horns of iron and hoofs of bronze to break to pieces many people. Then you will devote their grains to the Lord, their wealth to the Lord of all earth.
It might be, but without the context or framework, it's difficult to say.
Let me bring up the entire thing and see, Micah.
Micah 7:10 too.
Micah, this chapter was talking about in the last days. Let me read. I don't want to read the entire thing.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at, whatever they are like, the battle is not theirs. The bottom line. They may have all of these attributes and they may have these responsibilities, yes, but the battle is the Lord's.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is basically saying.
He's gonna set foot on a clean slate.
Right?
Yeah.
He will cleanse the earth. He is the only one needing to join the battle. Okay? So it may well be a case, giant, but without the context, I can't say.
I want you to look at it later because it's talking about the day of the Lord. It says in the last days, the mountain of the Lord's temple will be established as the highest of the mountains. It will be exalted above the hills and people will stream to it. And it goes on to talk about what the nations are going to do. And then it says, in that day declare the Lord, I will gather. And it started to talk about what he will gather. You gather the lame, you assemble the exile, and those I have brought to grief. He talk about the lame. He talks that he will rule over them in Mount Zion from that day and forever. As for you, watchtower of the flock, stronghold of daughter Zion, the former dominion will be restored to you. Kingship will come to daughter Jerusalem. So he's definitely talking about Israel and sees her as the daughter of Zion and what he's going to allow to happen to her.
Because tied again to Revelation, when during the millennium, as I said, the kingdom of the Lord will be established and he will rule from Jerusalem, Mount Zion.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And as it says, all the nations will stream in to pay homage.
That's what he says. That's what Micah says.
Yes, but Revelation says, and those who will not will be cursed, and no rain will fall on their country. So it is indicative that not all the countries of the world will accept. There will be resistance.
All right.
Let me finish. But those who do not accept his kingship will not be blessed with rain. There will be people living in drought until they say, blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord. The entire world will have to say.
All right, that makes sense. Let me read 11 and 12 that goes to 13 and see if this ties into Revelation or which is Armageddon and to this. But now many nations are gathered against you. They say, Let her be defiled. Let our eyes gorge over Zion. But they do not know the thoughts of the Lord. They do not understand his plan, that he has gathered them like sheaves to the threshing floor. Rise and thresh, daughter Zion, for I'll give you horns of iron. I will give you hoofs of bronze, and you will break to pieces many nations. You will devote their ill-gotten gains to the Lord, their wealth to the Lord of the earth. That put it in context now?
Well, not really, because in Revelation there will be three battles. The first being the kings of the east.
Well, this one is talking about after the temple was established. Anyhow, look at it. Look at it later on today and see Micah 4.
Yeah, but
we won't delve on it.
Let's just deal with it. There will be three battles. One, the army from the east will come in, but they will not invade Jerusalem. So therefore, it's not that one.
Right.
Then there is Armageddon. That will be where all the armies of the world come against Israel.
Which is what this says. They say, many nations gather against you.
Wait. Not necessarily.
Okay.
And they will be gathered there in Armageddon. And Christ return, and only Christ will join that.
Okay.
But then there is a third battle with Gog and Magog after the millennium.
Mm-hmm.
And these armies of the world also come against Christ in Jerusalem.
Oh, this probably is that one.
So that's why I'm saying without the contextual framework, it's difficult for me to speak.
Because this was saying the mountain of the Lord's temple will be established on the highest of the mountains, and nations will come. So the temple, the temple will be established, and nations would have been coming all along, and he will judge the people.
Well, that seems to be the third battle, which would then be the last one, after which Satan and his followers are thrown into the lake of fire.
That would make sense when he talk about the threshing floor now then, because he's now doing the final sifting.
So the problem is when people hear about Armageddon, they figure that is the last and only battle. That's not what Revelation says. Revelation describes three different battles.
When Micah talk about the last one.
Okay, possibly so.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on.
And he shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, said the Lord of hosts. Okay. Anything to add to this? No. So let's move on to verse 4. Remember ye the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgment. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Okay, so verse 4 starts with remember. Remember ye the law of Moses my servant.
And you notice he didn't just say the laws, he says where those laws were created. So there is no, is this one? No. God is talking about a specific one. The one that was made in Hebron, in Horeb. He was very specific.
Funniest thing, when I read this, I read it as a question. I read it as a question to say, do you remember the laws of my servant, which I commanded him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments? Behold, look, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. I read it as a question. It doesn't mean it is. But whether it is a question or not, it is to bring back to memory.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
To me, it is a question. Remember ye the laws of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments? If you read it like that, it makes sense. Because he is saying to them, you claim all along, he's been saying to them, you claim to be doing what is right. they already know what they're doing to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I am saying, for me, when I read this, to me, it sounds like a question. If you remember the laws, I could say, remember the laws. But if you don't remember the laws, I am therefore saying, go back and find them. But if I'm asking a question, it doesn't mean you have to go back and find them. I am saying, do you remember these? Have you lost your memory as it relates to this? Do you not remember what I said? That's how I read it. I'm not saying that is how God wants it, but I'm saying when I look at it, to me, it is very much a question.
Specific in the law of Moses. Well, it refer Exodus 20 verse 2 says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me."
Those are the 10 Commandments. 20 is the 10 Commandments.
Yep.
But it started from 19 when God came down as a thick cloud on the mountain and Moses put the people at the foot of the mountain. Because this was Hebron, but on Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is in Hebron or Horeb. Mount Sinai is in Horeb, where God gave them the commandments.
It said, "Which I commanded unto him in Horeb." And Deuteronomy 4 verse 10 said, "Especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, Gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children."
Yeah.
But we look at something there, and we see it in the Bible, but we haven't really examined it. The statutes and what are those?
Yeah, we always talk about the laws and the statutes. Learn the statutes.
The statute, well, what are the judgments? The statutes and the judgments are two different things.
Yep.
Because if it were not, it wouldn't be putting them as separate. But that and. And it's additive, which means it's not the same. It's put on top of, but it is to make something complete, but they are two separate things. It's like you and me.
Does the Hebrew version say the same
the same thing?
Okay.
So the question is, what are statutes and what are judgments?
All right. Deuteronomy 6 talks about all three. It says, "Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you may do them in the land whither you go to possess it." And verse 2 says, "That thou mightst fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and commandments which I have commanded you." So the statutes and the commandments are the things that they are supposed to do. And he named them, "Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God, keep blah blah blah." And then I'm going down. So those are the statutes. The judgments are what they will have to face when they break those commandments.
Not necessarily only when they break it, because the statutes and commandments are the laws.
Yeah, those are the laws.
Over how you behave in a society. But the judgments are the resultant from your either breaking or keeping. Because judgment
could be good too, yep.
Judgments are not only negative, they are also positive based on your response to the law. They said the man who keeps the law will be justified by it.
Yeah. Right? Everybody has a recompense, whether good or bad. You get paid.
Exactly. So we are seeing here the judgment and the statute related to what you need to do and what will come as a result of your actions based on the statutes. Right? So so God has already told what will happen if you break the law and what will happen if you keep the law. So you are not ignorant of what is to come based on your action.
Yeah, there are two judgments. That's why it's a judgments.
Yeah.
One that you get when you keep the law, and one when you break the law.
whichever it is, you already know what the requirements of the law are, and you already also know that these are the consequences, right, or results for you keeping or breaking the law. Right? So he's saying, do you remember these? Or you should remember. You need to remember. It's one of two things. It's either a question that says, do you remember these things, but I told you to do? Or you need to remember, or you need to go back and refresh your memory about these things that I commanded you. In either event, you are needing to go back to what I told you to do and the results of you keeping or failing to do. So then, having asked that question or made that statement, pointing them back to the laws and the resultant judgment, 5 says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful the Lord.
So before all of what's happening in 17, 18, 19, well, it's not 19, it's 4:1, from 3:17 all the way down to 4:3. That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
And God is saying now that before this happens, Elijah is going to come back. I'm sending Elijah back.
Okay.
Interesting. In Matthew 11, verse 14, it says, and if he will receive it, this is Elias which was for to come.
All right. I've said this before, that there are 2 messengers that the Lord has spoken of. And this is only one. Let me go back to the previous verse. Go discuss at the meantime. I'm going to find it.
But remember, in chapter 3, verse 1, God said Jesus said he was going to send my messenger, which we already know is John the Baptist.
Exactly. He said he was going to send his messenger,
which was John the Baptist.
Which says he will send his messenger to clear the way for the Lord. Which what John the Baptist did.
Exactly.
So that was the first messenger.
And he says, Jesus himself said that John the Baptist was in the spirit of Elijah.
Right.
Yes.
So there will be the first advent, and there will be this messenger that goes before the Lord to say, make his way straight. That's what it says in verse 3. But then verse 4 is saying, I am going to send Elijah before the day of the Lord. It's a different time.
That's a different time. Because when Jesus came the first time, it was not judgment. It was to save.
It wasn't the day of the Lord at that point. Yes, go ahead, Sarah.
Matthew 17, verse 10, to continue, it says, and his disciples asked him, saying to Jesus, when then said the scribes that Elias must first come? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall come, or shall first come, and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elias is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist.
And we'll hear what Matthew 11, verse 4, Matthew 11 says. I'm going to read 13 to 15. For all the prophets and the laws prophesy until John. And if you are willing to accept it, he is the Elijah who was to come. He who has ears, let him hear. That's what Jesus said. So the question now, is Elijah coming twice in the spirit? John was the spirit and then the real Elijah coming back? Or that is the question now. Because Jesus is saying that he is, John the Baptist was the Elijah of the prophecy.
How many prophecies?
That is the question. That's why I say, how many times is Elijah coming back? Because the first time was not the dreadful day. And it wasn't Elijah. It was John the Baptist in the spirit of Elijah. But no, it is saying we ascended Elijah. It names Elijah himself.
Okay, look at Revelation 11,
Mm-hmm.
verse 3. And I will appoint my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. They are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands, and they stand before the Lord of the earth. If anyone tries to harm them, fire comes from their mouth and devour them. Right? They are poured out of heaven, and so that it will not rain during the times they are prophesying. And they have power to turn the waters into blood and destroy the earth with every kind of plagues as often as they want. Now, when they have finished their testimony, the beast that comes up from the earth abyss will attack them and overpower and kill them. Their bodies will lie in the public square of the great city, Jerusalem, which is figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. For 3.5 days, some from every people, tribe, language, and nation will gaze upon their bodies and refuse them burial. The inhabitants of the earth will gloat over them and will celebrate by sending each other's gifts, because the 2 prophets that had tormented them. Right? But after the 3.5 days, the breath of life from God entered them, and they stood on their feet, and terror struck those who saw them. Then they heard to them, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud, while their enemies looked up. So, there are 2 witnesses who will be in Revelation, and they will be prophesying for 1,260 days, I think. Interesting thing about 1,260 days, that is equivalent to 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, halfway of the tribulation.
Halfway through the tribulation.
Then the great tribulation starts. So let's look.
Yeah.
The Bible says that the Antichrist will come. The attack on Israel will come when they were living peacefully in their tents.
Mm-hmm.
That is, there will be a peace treaty.
Yes.
They will not accept. The Antichrist will have broken a peace between Israel and its enemies. And
Right.
Israel will be living in peace for 3.5 years. Now, what the Bible is saying is, during those 3.5 years, the prophets will come.
Be there preaching.
Yes. And they will preach for 3.5 years, trying to turn Israel back to the Lord, turning the hearts of the fathers to the sons, and the hearts of the sons to the fathers.
Just like how John the Baptist did.
But I thought
That John the Baptist was a prelude to what's going to happen.
Let me finish. They will be there preaching during the first half of the tribulation.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Now, at the time they are killed is when the Antichrist comes in. The temple is already established.
Mm-hmm.
They come in, the Antichrist enters the temple, declares himself to be God, and these guys say, "You are not," and he kills them.
Mm-hmm.
Then begins the other part of the 7 years, and there is the tribulation, which is the first 3 years, 2.5 years. Israel will be living in peace. But why then is it called a tribulation? Because if there are 7 years of tribulation, 3.5, the last 3.5 years is called the Great Tribulation. And if Israel is living in peace during the first half, why is the first half called the tribulation?
Israel might be, but the Christians that are there might not be. Those who get converted might not be in peace.
Maybe.
Because remember, people during that time have to be putting on the mark of the beast. And those who don't have on the mark are going to be suffering.
Well, this is the period of time that is to prepare basically the arrival of the Antichrist.
The Antichrist is already there.
The Antichrist is already there, and people are supposed to be having on the mark now.
He's fooling everybody, playing nice there. And then, halfway to the tribulation, that is when he's going to set foot in the temple and say, "Well, no, I'm God worship." And then things going to be raging hell.
That is all. But that does not explain why it's called the tribulation.
Because God will start pouring the bowls of wrath from that time
onto the earth, onto Israel's.
Yeah. Not only Israel.
The bowl of God's wrath.
It involves all the nations.
Is on the nations.
Yeah.
On the nations. So you will see the hail. You will see during the first half. Yes. You will see the earthquakes. Yeah. You will see the hail. You will see the rivers turning into blood. You will see the low-king people. You will see all of these things, the boils. You will see the darkness. You will see all.
That's it.
The nations will start to suffer. Mm-hmm. Israel, on the other hand, is living in peace. Israel will be affected, yes. Just remember now. Remember when Moses was in Egypt? Mm-hmm. And they were to say to them, calm yourself. This is what this means.
It's another Egypt. It's another Egypt.
That's what I did of what God did for Israel in the days of Moses. They have been remembered. It sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've done it before.
It sounds familiar.
And then comes the Antichrist. Okay, enough. I am God. Worship me. And the people in Israel suddenly realize, hell, we have made a mistake. And they start
in the tribulation when he starts set foot in the temple as requiring that he is a God, you have to worship him. That is the time you have to flee, because you are going to be killed left, right, and center.
Well, the Jews have not read it yet. They need to read it now and know what's coming. But if they don't choose to, that's their problem.
But Jackie, all right, they don't read Revelation. Fine. But what about Zechariah? They acknowledge the prophet Zechariah, and Zechariah did tell
too, and they have ignored it. They have read Malachi and they have ignored it. These are not accidental anecdotes. It is replete. The Old Testament, the number of it is spread throughout the Old Testament. We have seen it in Hosea, we have seen it in Amos, we have seen it in Micah, we have seen it in Zephaniah, we have seen it in Isaiah, we have seen it in Daniel. They all say the same thing.
Yep.
So
everybody say the same thing.
The only part the Jews are interested in is the part that says they come out triumphant. Never mind.
I'm not accepting this.
Exactly. The only part that they are concerned with is the end of the book. That says they come out triumphant. Never mind that 90% of them are dead.
And they don't even know which part is their party in that 90%.
This is the part that is very... They see it, and the only part they remember is that the Messiah comes and he establishes the kingdom. They don't see that more than half of them are dead and are going to hell. That is irrelevant, you see. The Messiah comes and he sets up his kingdom. And we are all happy for that, because they in their eschatology, Abraham stands at the gate of Jehu, waiting to see who comes, and he inspects all of the people and those who are circumcised. And
so you tell me, sir, Abraham will go slow and check everybody's genitals to see if
let me finish. They go. Abraham inspects their genitalia. And
exactly.
Those who are circumcised will go into the bosom of Abraham, into paradise, and those that are not, they go to hell. So therefore, they need not worry, because no Jew will go into hell. My question is, what about the women? They aren't circumcised.
No.
So how are you going to determine those?
Their bloodline.
But that is only my stupidity, I suppose. But the question is, do they really believe this? And if they do, then they are not concerned about if 90% of them die, because they're all
yeah.
And that is why they're all balling out. Even the Muslims are saying, we are children of Abraham. Right. So that means because we are children of Abraham, we are so special. The Lord has promised that none of us will go into hell. Really? Show that to me. Show it to me. I haven't seen anything like that in the scripture. But if you have a theology, I'm sure you have it written down somewhere. So please, I'd like to see. But this is what they believe. Right? So this is what I mean. They're not really concerned about whether or not 90% of them dead. They're not.
Because the 90 were dead, gone to Eho
Yeah.
anyway. Abraham speak for them.
We don't have to worry about those. They're good. So to go back to this, Elijah will come before, not during.
For the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord.
And terrible day. That is before the great tribulation.
Yes,
and Jesus said it. Right? So this is why I said, to me, it 4 reads like a question. Right? And behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Oh, John the Baptist didn't do that.
No. John the Baptist. No, John the Baptist did. He just.
John the Baptist was to say, prepare ye the way of the Lord.
Yeah, that's what he did.
And that's what the first messenger was supposed to.
That's what 3:1 says.
All right? No, whether or not that is Elijah, again, I don't know. It may well be. But Jesus says he was in the spirit of Elijah.
Yeah, he was in the spirit.
So, I can only say what I see here. I see 2 messengers for 2 advents. And the Jews don't understand that there are 2 advents and they don't accept it. The Jews.
But what I'm seeing here is a pattern. Before Jesus comes, there is always a messenger that prepares the way before he comes. When he came on earth to be the sacrificial lamb, there was John the Baptist. And before he comes again, there's going to be a messenger preparing the way for him to come again.
2 messengers. But interesting thing is, when you look at the way the Jews describe the Messiah, they see 2 different Messiahs. They see Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David, which
Joseph is the suffering one,
which is the suffering Messiah, which
that Joseph suffered,
and the son of David is the triumphant Messiah. So they say 2 different Messiahs.
So it can't be the same.
2 different advents. They see 2 different persons.
So they would accept Jesus as Ben Joseph.
They quite well, even if they accepted Jesus as Ben Joseph, they dismiss him right away because he was not the triumphant Messiah. So we can get rid of that one. Right? Mm-hmm. But they didn't even accept him as that. They claimed him to be a witch.
Mm-hmm.
A wizard of some sort. So they did not accept him as a Messiah. In fact, after Jesus died, there were about 3 or 4 guys who came along and proclaimed themselves to be messiahs.
Yeah, I remember you telling us that.
So the issue that we and this is part of the destruction of the temple and Jerusalem, because some guy came along and said he's the Messiah, and listen to me, I've come to set you all free, and we're going to revolt, and we're going to overthrow the Romans, and yada 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 yada. And the zealots got involved, and they started having this rebellion because they figured they had a Messiah with them, and didn't work out. Never worked out. They were deceived. But the guy who came along and worked miracles and preached peace and love and healed the sick, raised the dead, and cured the blind, and all of that, they killed because he didn't fit the mold that they had in mind. But the Messiah for them is the guy who comes and gives them fringe benefits. The Jews don't want the Messiah because he's God. They want the Messiah because of what he gives to them, because of how they benefit. You understand the difference? Mm-hmm. God is saying, I'm sending my Messiah to establish it. In their minds, it is what they will get. It is not what they will give or how they will serve. It is what they will get. They will become great again, and they will be able to lord it over the whole world and the nations. That is what they see. It's not because they love the Lord. It's not because they want to serve the King. It's because they see the King bringing to them a great and powerful that they can conquer and be seen. That's what they want. But that's not what Christ brought. So therefore, he didn't fit the mold. Anything? Any questions, any observations? Anything to add?
Well, the end of this verse says, "Lest I come and smite the earth with a curse."
Yeah. But let's look at what happened. It says, "He shall turn the heart of the father to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers."
Mm-hmm.
Because if they don't do that, I may come and smite the earth with a curse. Because less means if not. All right? If that doesn't happen, then I will curse. But the wrath, the bowls of wrath that are being poured out are curses.
Yep.
This is specific to Israel.
This is specific because Israel was not really suffering; they were in peace.
Yep. So you will start be affected.
From that year.
From that time, after the departure of these two witnesses, and they have sealed the 144,000. Yes, the angel in Revelation, there was supposed to be destruction, and the angel says, wait, do not do this yet. Let me go and seal those that are reserved for the Lord. And he goes and he seals 144,000, 12,000 from every tribe. And when he's done that, he says, okay, let it go.
Yeah, I have to save part. By saving that, I keep my covenant. I keep my promise.
So 144,000 Israelites, not Jews.
Israelites. Yeah.
Are sealed. 12,000 from every tribe.
Keeping my promise
of the stall-fed cattle.
Mm-hmm. These are the stall-fed.
These two prophets
are witnessing in Israel.
Yes, but isn't it the two prophets that they are going to kill?
Yes.
Yeah.
But those are witnessing during the first half of the tribulation.
Yeah, but they're going to kill them and
they're dead. People could use those deaths as the indication that peace is now done.
Well yes, but listen, when they are preaching in Israel, they are not just preaching to the Jews in Israel. They are preaching to all of the tribes and the peoples of the world. And they are showing them how Christ relates to what is going on. Because guess what? Everybody in the world hates them. The peoples of the nation, they hate these two guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are causing drought, and they're causing pestilence, and they're causing boils, and they're causing all sorts of curses to be brought upon the nation. And it is because, okay, remember what Elijah said? There will be no rainfall until I say so. Yeah. And that's what's happening again. He says, there will be frogs upon your nations until I say stop. There will be locusts, there will be disease, there will be
anything that I call that you shall have.
And it starts happening. And the various peoples in the world are being affected by this. And they hate these guys. So when the Antichrist comes along and kills them, the entire world shouts, yes, they're dead. We have rid of them now. And guess what? Because
that's when they get the full-fledged.
Well, they are dead, and the people in the world not only celebrate, they start selling gifts between each other. Right? They start sending bottles of wine and liquor and having a party. They're dead. We have gotten rid of them. The Antichrist has saved us from these two fellas. And then they accept the Antichrist as, yeah, this guy is legit. These guys were tormenting us. He's killed them.
And we are grateful.
Yeah, they're grateful. 2.5 days later, they are back up. And the people start panicking now. What the hell?
But you said you killed them.
But yes. And they say, but they were dead. We saw them in the street. They were there for 2.5 days. Now think about it. If a body is lying in the street in Israel for 3.5 days, they start to swell, they start to stink. It is evidence that they are dead.
Yeah.
There is no two ways about it. They are dead. Okay? If they have been slaughtered, they have been shot, you'd have seen the blood, you'd have seen they are dead.
You'll be smelling them before you see them.
And there would be cameras pointing at them. That's why the entire world knows they are dead. and they are being monitored and yes, because guess what? They have read Revelation and they are watching these guys to see if these two guys come back to life as Revelation says, we know where we're at. And lo and behold, voila, 3.5 days later, they're back up and the entire world sees them going up just like Jesus was lifted up in the clouds. They see these two guys ascending like two aliens being lifted up with the tractor beam, right? They see them going up in the clouds and they're saying, these are aliens.
Of course. So we kill them and they come back to life. They ain't human.
Yeah. 3.5 years later, when the Israelites say, blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord, here comes Jesus. And they're saying, the final thing, the big aliens have arrived. And Christ comes down, sets up his kingdom, and the earth says, we have been invaded.
Yep. So
we are being invaded by aliens.
Eli, the two witnesses are the little spies that were sent to check out the land.
Yeah, to check out.
They were the scouts. And we killed the scouts.
Yeah. And they're saying,
scouts never died.
We always knew that we were going to be invaded. We have said it for many, many years. We have had sci-fi movies about this. We know it was going to happen eventually. And it has happened just as we suspected it. And we are now under this alien domination.
They probably will say that the Bible was a theory show to condition.
They're saying that already.
Yeah.
During the Great Tribulation, that's when there will be no scriptures, no words from the Lord, no nothing, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that because there are people who are going to be converted more. So
that's why I asked was that, remember in Amos, God had said that there will be a famine for the hearing of the word of the Lord.
Yeah, because look at it this way. All the pastors are gone. All the righteous God-fearing people are gone.
Yeah.
Preach again.
The truth is, there's no way that says when the rapture is going to happen. It might happen just before the Great Tribulations.
Well, listen, whatever happens,
it is going to happen.
There will be no persons who are righteous, who are able to preach the word.
So that's what Amos is saying. That's the famine.
That's the famine. They will have nobody here preaching until there are those who finally find Christ. For example, there will be some pastors preaching in the pulpit, and they will see half their congregation, or maybe 10 members of the congregation, just vanish. And they will know that they are still here and they have missed it. Yep. And they, at that time, will start to repent if they are smart and to live right. But they are going to be killed.
Yeah, they're going to be martyred.
They are going to be killed after a while.
Anyone who convert in that time, they are going to.
Right?
Well, we've seen Christians being persecuted already. Look at what happened in Africa with the beheaded Christians. I mean,
it's daily.
Yeah.
That happens almost every day now.
In Africa, we shouldn't be surprised.
The Middle East does it like it's nothing.
Islam is going to spread throughout the West.
Right? It's already started.
It is going to be the dominant religion. It is that which, because if you read Islamic eschatology, the guy who we call the Antichrist, they call their Imam. All right? The guy who we say is going to create a peace treaty with Israel and then break it. In Islamic eschatology, it agrees with Revelation, but the only thing is they say this guy is the Imam, the third Mahdi. And they say, will have a peace treaty with Israel, and then he is going to break it, and he's going to start killing the people from Israel. And the Muslims are going to say, yes, finally, this is the right guy for us. He is the Mahdi, and we must worship him. And then they say, there will be another guy who comes along and says, he is Jesus. Okay? Mm-hmm. This guy will come along and says, I am Jesus the Christ, and you have been worshiping the wrong God, and you must worship Allah, and you should worship in the way that I'm now telling you to worship, because all you Christians were doing it wrong. You have good intentions, but it was wrong. So you need to become Muslim, and he will deceive many because he will do miracles. He,
Yeah.
the Jesus, so-called Jesus, will do miracles. We call that guy the false prophet.
Yeah.
All right. In
And we
Revelation,
already know he's supposed to come.
yeah, in Revelation, he is described as a false prophet. And that is
And
why
Jesus did warn us to test the spirit.
when Jesus comes along, he grabs these two fellas alive and toss them in before Satan even gets here. For 1,000 years, the other two one is in there doing backstrokes and dog paddle in the lake of fire. All right. So these two guys will be, as far as the Muslims are concerned, Jesus and the, in Revelation, we call them the Antichrist and the false prophet.
The one and only true God. We come before you again to say thank you for what we have learned as we went through the book of Malachi. We thank you that you gave us eyes to see and a heart to understand, so that we could have the past and what's to Jesus.